All right, everybody, welcome back. I've got a little box today, and I am pretty excited about it because it's my first time looking at a kit from this company. It's a very interesting subject. It's a very interesting picture on the box art, too. So today, we are looking at Dream Models 172 scale, J-20 Mighty Dragon. And if you notice this little F-35 going down in flames. Now, this is kind of ironic too. So, those of you who haven't watched my model channel very much know that I like to throw in a little technical stuff with all the model work. Spent a long time in the Air Force and have had a lot of technical training in weapon systems and everything. Now, I got out of the military in 2017, 1 year before this plane entered service, but in the years leading up to it, there was a lot of cyber attacks and a lot of hacking, specifically of the systems related to the F-35, and a lot of data was stolen by China that went directly into the production of the J-20. That's why this little image to me is very funny, kind of ironic, and I don't know if it was intended as kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, but anyway. I think that this kit is relatively new. Trumpeter put out a 172 J-20 a few years ago. And the J-20 is really, wow, this is a very sturdy box too, by the way. But the J-20 is very interesting when we talk about stealth and fifth generation aircraft. And as I talk about this, I'm going to give you some views of what's on the box there. It was initially touted by the Chinese government as a full-on fifth generation stealth aircraft. Couple different paint scheme options that the J-20 wears in service with the PLA AF. It's pretty cool. In 2018, it was revealed, though, that India could actually pick this up with its Su-30 MKIs, which was not really a new plane. It was a very tried and true workhorse of the Indian Air Force. And that led a lot of people to realize that while China has very good technical skills, China has always been very good at reverse engineering stuff, but they led to a lot of thoughts and questions as to whether they were able to get enough of the F-35 information to really make a stealth aircraft. And some other people think maybe it went a little bit beyond that too. I spent some time at Nellis, and while I was there, we had an entire week of about 12 to 14 hour days learning about stealth and how it works. And it's very complicated. I still don't really fully understand it, but it's not just shapes. It's not just coatings. It's a lot of stuff that makes stealth work, and it takes a lot of technology. So we'll talk more about the J-20 as we go. So let's go. This is a really sturdy box. Wow. Okay. I think, wow, and this looks fantastic. I like Dream Model. So inside the box, we have one little clear part. And this is, as 172 scale goes, this is a pretty large aircraft. We have one, we have two, we have three bags of parts, all very neatly snuggled into this box. And the bottom of the box is as tough and rugged as the top. Also inside we have, let's see, some photo etch. Looks like something for the control panel and some seat belts, decals. You know what? I'm going to go a little out of order. I usually do this kind of stuff last, but let's take a look. Small decal sheet, but it looks like there's not a lot of markings and everything that goes onto this plane anyway. Decals look very nice and thin. We've got some instruments and cockpit type stuff. Display screens. Everything looks in register, all the multicolored stuff, nothing drifting off. Looks very good. Now, all painting instructions here are Mr. Hobby colors, And unfortunately, I don't really use any of those, although I have been thinking of moving over to those. So this is going to be a great project to get to those. Now, let me see. Is this correcting some colors or something? I honestly really don't know what's going on here right now. But it seems like this is just, you know, the numbers all match up to what's on here anyway. It seems like this is just kind of further explaining exactly what colors to use for this scheme. And this looks like the scheme I want to paint anyway. So there we go. But full color painting instructions for both of the schemes available with decals on there as well. And you see here you've got English instructions on here, but this one is all Chinese. I'm gonna further investigate this, and if there's something new, you'll see text on the video if I discover something new that we need to know about this. Instructions are short. Single sheet of instructions. Look at that. Wow. Okay, awesome. I mean that kind of sarcastically. Although they do look like they are nicely drawn. I'm not sure right now, you know, having never built anything by Dream Model, I don't know how good their instructions are. I'm getting the sense that they're color coded, so red arrows are construction and blue arrows are painting instructions, so that's nice. Figured that out very easily. You know, the instructions, the size of the instructions makes it look like it's not that big a build, but the scope of some of the pictures, I'm getting the sense that there might be some details that we would want to see that we're not going to see as we go. But again, you know, until we start building it, who knows? So I'm just going to leave these here as we go through the bags. What I don't see anywhere on here, it doesn't give you, you know, parts diagrams, sprue diagrams, or anything like that. So I guess you just don't get that. Oh well. Let's start with this top bag as it was packed in the box. Now, are these taped right? Nope, they're just all sealed up. So we'll cut them right open. Plastic feels sturdy, not kind of soft and pliable in a good way. Not soft and pliable, not kind of stuff that's gonna like bend and you know, kind of, it's gonna hold its shape well. You know, there's who know, you know, when you try a new Chinese brand, you never know what you're gonna get. Very nicely done surface details though. Panel lines are well done. Now, you know, I know about US stealth aircraft. I know that panel lines are actually not panel lines. There should be actually, you know, a tape or a joint filler on these. They give us panel lines because it gives us something to detail. I don't know if the Chinese aircraft are actually like that. But, you know, to build a model, you kind of accentuate things and you make them hyper-realistic. Certainly for detailing purposes, this is great. Maybe even a little bit too good for this scale. A little too deep. I prefer it. I like it because it really lets you, you know, when you're building up multiple layers of different effects and everything, you're not going to lose any of your panel lines. I think that for 172 scale, they might be actually a bit too deep, but they're very crisp, very clean. So that looks good. So it looks like we have fuselage top and then nose bottoms. That's interesting. I've never seen that done before. Cockpit tub, no detail in there at all. It's all going to be decal. We've got some gear bay doors with some basic interior detail. I mean, just structural stuff. Nothing really there. Some landing gear stuff. Hydraulics, another landing gear. I right now have no idea what this is. looking at the J, from a technical standpoint, looking at the J-20, like I said before, stealth is a combination of the shape of your aircraft, the structure of your aircraft, the coating of your aircraft, I'm trying to think what I can say and what I can't say, the emissions and the signal security of your aircraft. There's a lot that goes into stealth. It's not just like make a plane of carbon fiber, paint it black. There's a whole lot, and what made the F-117 stealthy, I think, a lot of it's been declassified at this point. You can't say what the coating was, but it was to the point where when you did maintenance on the F-117, you had to repaint the plane every single time, because a big part of its stealthiness was literally its paint job, which technology has moved on and remedied that, where there's still a need for, they have a whole career field where radar absorbent material technicians take care of it, but it's not to the point where you have to sandblast and repaint the plane. There are different ways to take care of it, but looking from a technical standpoint at some of the design features on the J-12, it's common knowledge that you don't want 90-degree features. I don't want to get into a technical lesson about stuff, but if you literally had a panel line like this, where two panels met, this is a great place to reflect radar energy back from. Whereas this is what you want with, these kind of no straight edges. Something like this would, if radar energy would hit that, believe it or not, that would reflect. Now, I also have read, again, remember, the J-20 entering service is a little bit after my time. There seems to be a difference, getting out of the technical stuff back into the model, seems to be a little bit of difference in quality between the upper fuselage piece and the lower fuselage piece. Almost kind of like they said, you know what, people are going to be looking at the top and not the bottom. There's a lot more flash. There seems to be I don't know how to describe it. It just seems like they put a lot more finishing into the top. The mold was cleaner. It was just a better surface production on the top piece than the bottom piece. You still have a lot of detail and everything. It's not as crisp. It's not as clean. It's not as deep. And there's the surface just, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if I can catch it on camera. The surface doesn't look as nice as the top, if that's coming through. I don't know if that's just this piece that I got. I don't know if that's how they all are. And honestly, I wouldn't put it past some company to say, hey, people aren't going to be looking at the bottom of a model. They're going to be looking at the top. Save a little time and money. But anyway. And now I totally forgot what I was talking about with the aircraft and the stealthiness. But I was going to say that there's, when comparing the J-20 to the Rafale, which India has purchased, some sources, some even from within China, have actually downgraded its classification from a full-on 5th generation stealth fighter plane to an advanced 4th generation with stealth capability, which is a big deal in the fighter world. Minimal detailing inside your weapons bays. This is probably inside a landing gear bay. You've got some, for 172 scale, not too bad. Hoses and everything, and I believe these are weapons bay doors. Some pieces have a little bit of flash, some have none whatsoever. For a 172 scale, this isn't bad, but this is a large piece. Now, if you were going to build this open and display the missiles, I imagine you might want to put it on a surface where it can be seen, or where, like a mirrored surface, or you'd want to pick it up and look at it. I would think they might want to put a little bit more detailing in here, but what do I know? Looks like you have the option to build a weapons bay open or closed, though, based on these two different I think these are sets of doors, so that's pretty cool. But it really does look like a good kit so far. I'm not, you know, I don't have a lot of complaints or anything. Don't get me wrong. Looks like in here we have some more control surfaces. We have some landing gear doors, and we have weapons. It's also been noted that the engines are really still Russian design, not indigenous Chinese design. They come from Mother Russia, which is where a lot of Chinese fighter technology still comes from based on that. However, what China is really good at, they took the flanker. The original Su-27 flanker was an excellent plane, but you know, it has a ridiculous radar cross-section. The J-11 Bravo is something that we used to call in our threat briefings a flanker-shaped death machine. With the modifications China made to it, it was very, very much more capable and deadly. These look like PL-15s, which is a new generation of air-to-air missile. Now, the PL-12 was quite a threat. It is something that, when we want to exercise to something we're more afraid of, the PL-12 missile is an air-to-air threat that causes us to do things quite a bit different, and that's all I'll say. These look like a generation ahead. These look like PL-15s, which are also, I mean, very much nothing to sneer at. And these look like PL-10s, which are a fairly capable shorter range air-to-air missile. Now, interesting, I haven't seen ejector pin marks on surfaces where we're going to see them up to this point a whole lot. A little bit here in these bays and these doors, but on these weapons bay doors, there's a lot of ejector pin marks that you're either going to have to just deal with or find a way to sand and fill. And now in these bays, you've got them too. But still very much, for the most part, a very clean kit. I like it a lot, and I'm really looking forward to building it and seeing how it comes out. You've got good surface detail on these control surfaces as well. Maybe, again, a little too deep for the scale, but still looking forward to it. Inside, I think these are air intakes. You've got some more kind of shallow, but still ejector pins that need to be filled. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how these the joints go together. This should be a lot of fun to build, and you know, according to the instructions, just judging by this, not a lot of time to do. But just by saying that, I've tempted the gremlins, and this kit could go completely haywire. Beautiful canopy piece. It looks like it's got a little bit of distortion holding it far away, you know, just looking at it, but if we hold it close up, in the short term, in the short-sightedness, it's beautifully crystal clear. Obviously, there is no open. It is close only, so I hope that those decals and the photo etch they give us helps us produce a really nice interior to see through here. Something that we can, you know, and it's visible. A real challenge here is going to be I'm trying to get a good shot of it, the explosive deck cord for ejecting through, right there. Now, just by coincidence, I have a very dusty, it's been sitting on the shelf begging me to finish it for quite some time, Su-57 here. We can compare it in size to the J-20, and see, it's, boy, that's a dusty plane, huh? But the J-20 is just a bit bigger. Very interesting there. So I think I'm going to get started on this right away, because it really does look like a well-made kit, an interesting subject, and something that I, in my Air Force time, I was somewhat of a Red Air guy. I was very big on the enemy weapons and the enemy systems, and when someone had a question about what they could do and how we would counter it, that was one of my things. So, kind of upset that I didn't get to really get fully read into all of what we know about this, but I guess building the model will have to take its place. So I think it's a good looking kit, and I can't wait to get started on it. I guess we'll discover what kinds of little bugs and stuff it has to make it difficult as we go. But should be fun. Should be fun. I'm contemplating now, do I want to build it on a stand, make a little stand for it, which is what I do with a lot of 172 scale stuff, or build it wheels down. I'm not sure. And that also has a lot to do with, do I want to build the weapons bay open? Because if I put it on a plane on a stick, it'll really show off that weapons bay. But these are all choices we can make a little later on. So, interested in any opinions or ideas anybody has about the kit? If you want to just discuss the plane, that's fine too. If anybody's already built one and you want to share some tips or tricks you have about it, please do share. Otherwise, thanks for watching. If you're building your own stuff at home, keep building them, build them well, and I will be back with another video really soon.